Hey fam, I'm making this video because I'm going through a transitional period in my life. I'm going through a transition, and when I go through these things where it's like a transitional period in my life, I usually get quiet, right? I usually just keep to myself and go through the changes by myself, just quiet. But I realized that I'm out here on these YouTube streets and you go through things in life so that you can be a blessing to others, right? So I think it's better to just go through what I'm going through in real time, share that so that it could be helpful to someone else. Basically, I'm learning a lot about how to obey and follow my Father, okay, the Most High. That's what I'm learning now, right? It started a few months ago, and I'll tell you why. Okay, there's a big reason why, but it's like I know the truth of things as far as following God. And I was thinking a few months ago, I was thinking that I was doing all right in that area. I'm a good person. I'm honest. I do unto others as I will have them do unto me. But a couple of months ago, I found out that if I would have died, like let's say if something would have happened while I was traveling and I would have died or whatever, I wouldn't have made it. I would not have made it. And that scares me. That shook me to my core. So yeah, I've been going through kind of like a spiritual, not awakening, but just learning how to follow and obey my Father. And this is the reason why I was so scared. We're going to talk about some sensitive topics. All right. These are just things that I've gone through in my life. And so we're going to start with death. We're going to start with losing a parent. I lost my mother when I was 12. Okay. So I think it was like 2 weeks, I was in Virginia with my father and brother. And, my mother, she was in New Jersey. She was okay. She wasn't the best, but she was all right. She was going through some health problems, but it didn't look like anything serious was about to happen, obviously. I was in Virginia with my father, his family, and my mother called, and we had like the best conversation because she was so upbeat. You know what I'm saying? She was so upbeat. She was like, yeah, I'm feeling better and this and that. And we were talking about she was talking about basketball season. I played basketball in high school and blah, blah, blah. And so after that phone conversation, we had to go to church or whatever. So I was really thanking God. I was like, God, thank you. Thank you for healing my mother. Thank you for healing my mother. And I meant it. Right. And on the day that I returned back to Jersey, on the day we returned back to Jersey, I went back to Montclair, went to the house. Yeah, I had to close the door. I'm drying some clothes right now. But anyway. So I went back to the house in Montclair, and nobody was at the house. So it was like I had like an eerie feeling about it all. I was like, where's mom? Where's, my grandmother? Where's everybody? So my grandmother was at work. I don't know where my grandfather was, with my step grandfather. So I was at the house and there was basically nobody at the house. So long story short, that is the day my mother passed. The day that I arrived, the day that my brother and I arrived back from Virginia, back to Jersey, is when she passed. I was 12. So it's like we had to have the funeral and then get right back into school, you know what I'm saying? And not even miss a beat. And Yeah, that was beyond traumatic for me, right? So it's like I have to put on a face of everything's cool to everybody else. This is what I was doing. I was putting on a mask that everything was okay. Yeah, okay. You know, people would say, oh, yeah, you know, I'm sorry your mother passed. And I was like, yeah, no, it's all right. You know, whatever, things happen. But in my heart, I was done. I was so pissed at God. I was like, you know what? Whoever made me, whoever created me hates me. Right? And that was just what I was saying. You know, I was just like, you hate me. So I'm not even going to be here no more. Like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I'm going to do something to where I'm going to join my mother. This is what I was thinking in my head, and I meant it. So, anyway, so one night I had a dream. And it's going to be kind of difficult. I'm just going to explain it the best way I can, right? I had a dream and I saw my mother. And the way that she looked, she was perfect. Beyond perfect. It's difficult to describe, but it was, my mother came and she talked to me. And there was no sorrow. There was no sadness. I felt love, joy, and I remember this dream like it was yesterday. My mother was like, yeah, I had to get out of there, and was like joking with me. Now, it's like weird because I could kind of see myself, and it was like I was being held where I couldn't move. My eyes were open, and it's like my mouth was open. I was trying to speak, but I couldn't. I couldn't speak. I couldn't do anything. It's just like I was looking like this. You know what I'm saying? Like looking at myself. It was weird. It's like I could kind of see myself for a split second. And then I was looking at my mother. And I remember like yesterday, she was like, I had to get out of there. I was joking. But what I remember is that there was no sorrow. There was no sadness. There was love. I felt love, peace. It was like, the feeling is difficult. It's like perfection times 1,000. You understand? There was absolutely no sorrow, absolute beauty. My mother was beyond beautiful, right? So I know now that she was in her new body, because, when we die or whatever, we get a new body, a heavenly body or whatever. And then I remember waking up. And I woke up in my room, and I woke up like, whew, right? And then I looked around in my room, and I was like, and this is what I said. I was like, my mother is in a much better place than I am. You see what I'm saying? And it's not like I was completely over her death. You never get over the death of your mother. But the spirit of suicide, the spirit of hating God or whatever, that was just gone. Just like that. Because before that dream, I was done. I was like, no, whoever created me is playing with me. Whoever created me hates me. So I'm not trying to be here. This life is just way too difficult. This isn't going to work anymore. So, I'm sharing that because I've seen the other side, right? I've seen what happens to a person, to my mother. I've seen what happens when you live right. I've seen what happens when you're a good person and you obey God's commandments, right? Because it's like people would look at her life and not think much of it. Right. I know my grandmother sheltered her, but she didn't drink. She was just basically a good person. She followed God's commandments, put it like that. You understand? She did that. And I saw the reward that happened. So when you have an experience like that, I know that nothing on this planet, nothing on this earth is worth messing up that reward that you get for living right, for following your father. Nothing on this planet is worth it. You understand? All the little trinkets and rewards you get here on earth. It's nice, it's cool, living nice and great coffee and travel and everything else. This is what you're here to do. You're here to enjoy your life. Understand that. But you're also here to obey your Father. Okay? And so because of that experience, I want to fast forward from 12, having that experience, to now I'm about to graduate high school. I was in my grandmother's room, and she was sitting on a bed, and I was just standing there, and my grandmother just started talking to me about my mother. And she was telling me that, when we were away, when my brother and I, when we were in Virginia with my father, that's when my mother, her health started to go down. And she was praying to God that if she wasn't able to heal fully, she wanted God to take her. She did not want to live. She did not want to be here. This is what she did not want to be here. Her worst nightmare basically was for my brother and I to come back to New Jersey and find her in the position that she was in. Her body's just attacking her. Her body's getting weaker and weaker. I think she needed help like showering and all of that. And her worst nightmare would have been for us to come back and see her like that. So my grandmother's telling me all of this. And this is God validating himself to me. I looked up to the sky and was like, so God answered her prayer. And it's like I understood it. It was like a full circle type moment. God answered her prayer and took her home. And that validates the dream that I had, where she was like, yeah, I had to get out of there, and was like joking with me. Now, mind you, I never told my grandmother about the dream. Never. So I know the power of my Father. Okay, I know the power of the Most High. I've lived it. I would have never escaped the States without him. Okay? He stepped in, and I had specific questions. Like once I made the decision to leave the States, and it wasn't because I just wanted to become an expat. I started traveling outside the States in 2007, right? I went to Paris, France. That was the first place I went. And at the time I was in special education. That's where I started my teaching career, in special education. So every, break that we had, I was overseas. You know what I'm saying? I was like, okay, what's next? Rome. Okay, Italy, let's go. What's next? Portugal, Spain, Barcelona, Madrid, Paris again, Gibraltar, just all of these places. I was traveling nonstop every time that I could travel. I traveled because that first trip blew my mind. That first trip, basically, it let me know that the U.S. was a lie. Whoa, boy, I'm telling you, that first trip I consider it real school, right? This is traveling overseas was when I started to really learn about life. Like, what is this? What's going on? How does this world work? What do I really like? Because I discovered that I like, there's something about language learning. Hold on. What's going on? There's something about this culture and different cultures. And I remember that people work differently. People don't work until they drop in other countries, Like one big thing was the way that the French used to take like an hour-long lunch and just chill, right? And then traveling to Spain, how they take their siestas, they close their stores. They're like, yeah, I'm taking my nap right now, what's up? I'll see you later. That type of attitude. So I discovered in different countries, there's a real work-life balance. And this is why I created my channel. You know what I'm saying? Okay, I'm gonna just take you with me. I'm on a pet sit. Let me let my little friend out here. I'm just gonna come and take you with me. All right, there he is. Come on. There we go. Good girl, good girl. Yay, yay, yay. All right, come on, boo boo. If you watch my channel, if this is your first time watching this channel, I'm Ronnie. I am a 10-year expat, and I help people who are in the States that want to travel, who want to teach abroad, because that was how I made my money, right? It was like, once you decide that you're going to leave, then you need to decide how you will support yourself. So that was through teaching, ESL, teaching business courses, multiple business courses, presentation courses in universities, and to corporate adults. So that's what I've been doing for the past 10 years, 11 years. It's scary. Time flies. Okay, so when it comes to travel and the lifestyle I have and everything else, none of this would have happened if I did not lean on God. This is what I'm trying to say. If I didn't lean on God to help get me out of the States when I decided, because it wasn't just me, okay? I had a son and I had a husband. So I had to get everybody on board, which is 10 times more difficult than if you are by yourself. So, if you're sitting there, if you're watching this channel and you're in the States and you are single and young and it's just you, and you know that you don't belong there, right? You have that feeling, you have that calling in you that's telling you that the life that you're living is not it. This is not what you want. If that's you, then I would advise you seriously, not even advise you, like I'm telling you, go get your passport. Go get you a passport, because I had that same calling in me, right? Get your passport and take a trip outside the States. I took my first trip out of the States in 2007, and it took me almost 8 years. It took me almost 8 years to decide to pull the trigger. Don't do that now, right? Get a passport. If you have this calling, like if you're the type, you have this calling and you feel like something's keeping you stuck, or you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're not sure why you're not taking action, I have a free quiz for you. Okay, so tap into that. That's in the description. And also, if you want somebody to talk to who has traveled and lived outside the US, if you have any questions, click the link below for that if you want to reach out. All of us can feel and see that life is changing. Like this 2004 is very different from what we're going through now, what we're seeing, especially in the States, but everywhere, right? What's going on with governments in the States, ICE, military being called into the US. News is no longer news, right? News is just like a brainwash tool. You can feel, if you're an empath like me, then you can feel the negativity and almost demonic energy happening in the States and other places too. But living under the system of the States is, I think, pretty much the worst place to be, because they expect you to work till you drop. And things are not about to get better. If you want to tap into what's going on, if you want to understand why you see governments hiring ICE, why they're even there, right? If you want to understand what's going on now and what you need to do about it, click the link in the description where it says the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Okay, because there's some life-saving information there for you if you want it. But, I'm not the only one who's lost a parent. There's some of you who's lost a parent, not only physically, but maybe emotionally as well. Let's talk about that. because there are some of us that have parents that withdrew themselves from you, right? So that's like an emotional death. I know about that. For me, by the time I was 22, everyone who had actively raised me was gone. So I don't have no aunties or uncles or nobody. There's nobody for me to talk to about anything. It's just me out here. That's my life. I have my brother. He's in the States. I'm trying to get him out of here. But anyway, I'm making this video because I think it's important that you know that even though we're going through crazy times, it's important for you to know that you're not alone. It's important for you to know that you have a Father that's right there looking at you, waiting for you to tap into him. You understand? Like, I didn't leave the States. If I wasn't holding God's hand like this, you understand? I would not have made it. I would not have made it. I'm telling you. I was talking to God the whole time, and I'm telling you, this is like a testimony, really. When God is behind you, he will move things. He will create situations that you have nothing to do with. And will push you right along. All you need to do is keep your eyes on the prize. Okay? Don't shift. Keep working towards your goal. Keep moving towards what you're trying to do, no matter what. People are in your ears telling you negative, or, oh yeah, you're not going to go nowhere, or whatever. You just keep moving. That's it. And get away from those people. Okay? So, I guess that's it. I'm not trying to make this video like too long. But just know you're not alone. Tap in. If you want to move abroad, take the first steps. If you want, the first thing before you move is you want to travel. You understand? You want to travel and kind of see what's out there. You want to see where you fit, where you feel best, where you're treated better. You understand? Where you're treated the way that you deserve to be treated. Go where you deserve to be treated. You understand? So get your passport and be careful about what you say. You know, I also want to, talk about that. Be careful about what you say to yourself and what you think. If you feel tired, don't say you feel tired, because there's power in your tongue. You know what I'm saying? What is it? There's death and life. Death and life is in the power of the tongue, right? So if you feel tired, you speak energy. You speak vitality in your life. If you're feeling sad and depressed, you speak happiness and joy in your life. I'm so thankful. Get into gratitude. Whenever you feel bad, get into gratitude and speak about what you're thankful for. You're thankful that you're alive. You're thankful that you can breathe. You're thankful that you can see. You're thankful that you can walk. You're thankful that you have, whatever family members you have, your mom, your dad. You're thankful that you have the right mind to think. You're thankful for all of that. The simple things, if you love coffee like me, you're thankful that you have, a nice coffee machine and you can make yourself a nice cup every morning. You're thankful that you have food to eat. You're thankful that you can afford to, travel or do what you want to do. Speak life into yourself. Speak life into yourself. Be careful of who you're around. And just do something today to move forward with your plan. If something in you is telling you, I don't belong here, I want to travel, that's your inner guide. That's your inner guide telling you what you need to do. It's time to go, right? So take a small step today. Take a small step. Join a Facebook group. Go on YouTube, watch videos like this, and watch other channels. It's like, start researching. All right, this is getting too long. This is Ronnie Light signing off. If you like what you see and you're feeling the vibe, then subscribe and join the tribe. Pass this video on to somebody who this can help. The spirit of transition and change is heavy. And losing my mother, that taught me at a young age that change is a part of life. Okay? You can wake up today and your life look one way, and then you wake up tomorrow and it could look completely different. And that's just what I've lived through. Take care. I send you much love, and I'll see you in the next one.